that there's something so special about you and me, babe. So just say the words, cause you know what it means to me, babe.
Welcome to the Babes in Sports podcast. My name is Jamie Hersch.
I'm Tory Roy. We're two friends navigating being mothers, wives, and successful women in the demanding, male-dominated world of sports.
Go sports.
Go sports.
All the sports. And we are in the midst of transitioning into new sports happening. The seasons are changing. Suddenly, October, I don't know how that happened.
Sounds like the start of a song. It's right. Is that where you're going? You're going to break out in the chorus?
Oh, yeah, we'll break out the vocals later.
Yes.
Yeah, what are you up to these days, work-wise?
I am still pushing forward with my documentary on the movie Rocky, which turns 50 next year. And so I get to go out to LA this week for an interview. Yeah, I'm really excited about this one. I'll just tell you guys, it's not Sylvester Stallone, but it is someone that had a very large impact on the film. So I'm really excited to go out there, do it, and live that hotel life for 2 glorious days. Jamie, where are you? Where are you?
I know it well. I'm currently living that whole hotel life.
Yes, she is.
Yeah, it's been great. My husband is all too well aware of this, but it really does sometimes feel like a vacation when I go on a work trip because, for example, tonight I'm calling a game, but it's not till 10:30 Eastern. And I had a game yesterday that ended at like 6 o'clock Eastern. So I will have almost a little over 24 hours to just hang. Maybe go to the beach. I went to dinner by myself last night.
All right. Take it down.
Went to a little wine bar. I know, but those are the things that, like, we talked about this before on the pod, but it's like you try to push that guilt aside as much as possible and just enjoy it. Because I used to just stay in my hotel racked with guilt, looking at the baby monitor.
Pick up the monitor. Yep.
Like trying to call my husband to see if there's anything I can do. And the reality is I might as well have fun. You know, one of us should be having fun. Like I can't do anything about it. So not going to be guilty. And I'm just going to live my best life.
Honestly, like I know it sounds arrogant. Like when I'm going out to dinner and I'm by myself, I'm like, you deserve this. Like you deserve to actually enjoy a meal. Do you know how I don't eat sometimes, or when I do, it's like 5 chicken nuggets and I'm crushing that because this is an actual adult meal.
Yeah. Yep.
This is crazy. We earned that. Yeah. Like you worked really hard to get to that trip, right? Like,
and also I'm being paid to be here. It's not like I'm just like hanging out. I am fully loving this little trip. And then it is a bit of a crazy week for me because I fly back Tuesday morning. Wednesday night is opening night for the Golden Knights. So by the time ready to get going on the hockey season. And then we actually fly out immediately after that for a 3-game road trip. So I'm about to be fully immersed in all things Vegas Golden Knights and the NHL and more hotels. So I'm feeling very blessed, lucky, fortunate, all of those things, while a little bit guilty and a little bit like, shoot, I'm going to be missing a lot of time with the kids. But that is the existence we've chosen.
Yeah. And I think we have a guest today that could speak on that really well, right?
Look no further than talking to a baseball sideline reporter, right? Yeah, our next guest is a badass mama who works in sports, obviously, primarily as a sideline reporter for the Houston Astros. She has covered the Super Bowl, the NBA Finals, the World Series. She's called play-by-play for a Major League Baseball game. And if that weren't enough, she is now a published author of a children's book called Her Day at the Park. Oh, and she also runs this fabulous clothing line. I mean, I'm getting tired just thinking about all the things that she balances. But most importantly, she is mama to her beautiful daughter, Valerie. She is Julia Morales. Welcome to Julia Morales. We are so happy to have her on the pod this week. Julia, it must be pretty strange not to be working postseason baseball for the first time in 10 years. I hate to bring it up right off the hop, but Houston's out, so you suddenly find yourself with, I guess, some extra time right now, right?
That's the silver lining. And, it's kind of the conversation we were having on the last day of the season. So Jamie, the world of baseball, like you play all these games and they mean something, right? And for the Astros, they've meant something all 162, all the way to the end. But this is the first time that I've broadcasted a game that didn't actually mean anything. And it came down to the last day of the season. So they were eliminated on after 161, basically. So that last day was like high school graduation or something. Like it was the last day of school. Like you're saying bye to everyone because we haven't done that. Think about it. Like the Astros did, like their last day is after a devastating playoff loss or after winning the World Series. So, like, I mean, that's a whole different experience. But having that time to kind of say goodbye to people and thank people for all that they've done for you and like helped you out in times, stuff like that. I was able to do that, but I was able to talk to a couple of guys who were going home. There was a few guys that had newborns this year, and you know how that goes. Paternity leave is only 3 days, and these guys hit the road and they're back at it, and their moms are at home, or the wives are at home, just like trying to figure out the first child, and they don't get to see them very often. And then they didn't know postseason schedule. Like, would it be another month before I'm home with my newborn baby? So, that was the silver lining for all of us, was just, okay, we get to go home, we get to be with our family. That's a whole other topic, that reentry, that transitional period that I'm kind of in right now, of like, what goes on at the house? Like, what do you guys, what's happening here? What are our hours? Like, how do we get our kids to bed? I mean, that's a whole other challenge, but yeah, definitely seeing the positives there.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And, we're going to get a lot into your career and all the things that you do outside of broadcasting as well. But first and foremost, I just want to say I've always just been so inspired following your journey on Instagram and how much your daughter seems to be able to come with you, because I've worked that baseball season and it is an absolute grind. I mean, when you're the primary or the only sideline reporter, I think the most games I ever did with the Twins was like 110, and that was a lot. But for you to do almost all of the games and be a mom, how have you tried to strike the balance between, having your daughter be with you as much as possible, and ultimately having to be away as much as you do?
Yeah, I think what helped was that I had this job for many years before I started the family. So, and I had it before I got married. I met my husband when I was kind of getting started. We got married in 2015. So this world was my world, and I was bringing people into it, if that makes sense. So they knew me as the person that was doing this career. Having a kid, the other part of this, and I know your kids are all young, and y'all remember COVID very well. And that year, I actually got pregnant during the COVID year. I was pregnant in spring training that year when the whole world stopped and the baseball world stopped. And the question in my head was like, how far am I going to take this before I have to pull myself off the road? How far am I going to take this before I even tell anyone I'm pregnant? Like, there was so many things that were going through my mind. And of course, I didn't have to do any of it because of COVID. I was able to be pregnant at home in the privacy of my own space. And maternity leave looked a little different that year, of course, for people who weren't going to the office every day. But all of that, like leading into it, we had tried to start a family before that. So these were like huge questions that weighed on me and just kind of stressed me out on like, how's this going to work? Like, what is it going to look like when I do have a kid? But everyone just kept saying, you'll figure it out. You'll figure it out. But yeah, you're right. I work about 145 games, and then I do a handful of Rockets in the off season. So I do have a very quiet off season, but I am gone. I'm on every road trip. And as you know, those aren't like weekend trips. These aren't like there and back. These are 12 days. These are 10 days. They, the short ones are very, very rare. And those are 3 or 4 days. I'm talking rare, like once a season, you might get a 3-day trip. The rest of them are usually 2 or 3 cities. So, I don't know, Jamie, I'm figuring it out. And because every year is different too. Every age is different. Obviously, when she was very, very young, I had a lot of help in my mom, who was awesome and just kind of drove down and moved in for road trips and would help us through that. My husband's awesome and can handle all of it on his own. Thank God. I mean, like, I don't know how this works without somebody who can just hold it down while you're gone, especially long periods of time. But for me to be able to continue to mom and have that relationship with her, and that, make sure she knows I'm there and all of that. I mean, first of all, that was really hard, just to kind of like let go of the control and all the, like, that's really, really hard. Like, someone else is raising your kid for the baseball season. I've gotten better and better each year, but the older she gets, the easier it gets in that she can travel a little bit better. I mean, I don't want to send my husband on the road with a 2-year-old and like, hey, meet me in Seattle. And by the way, I have to leave for the ballpark at 2 p.m. and I'll see you at 11. It's like, that doesn't make a lot of sense either, because I get that question a lot. Do you bring your kid on the road? I'm like, it doesn't make sense. Like, I'm working all day. This job is crazy. It's crazy. And I don't like, it's hard to explain how psychotic the job is until, unless you're in it. unless you're in the baseball world. I mean, the hours are vigorous, the schedule's vigorous, all of the above. But the older that she gets, the ways we can pick out, like go to Chicago, we're in Houston, so it's kind of an easy one way, and spend a few days there. And they actually took the train to Milwaukee. And so that we made it a 2-part, like things like that. Were so special to me. And I know, of course, she's starting to obviously collect memories and stuff, not a ton yet, but she will. And they're important for me, right? To connect with her and to like see my family and for us all to be in the same room together. And that gets me through the year because it's really hard. I'll tell you, 2022 was extremely hard. That was the year the Astros won it. So they went all the way, and parades happening early November. So I started in February, and I am like nonstop through November. And she was little. And afterwards, I was drained. I was drained from trying to do it all. And I didn't know how I was going to be able to keep up and do it all. And in my head, I'm like, maybe the goal is to get off the road a little bit. Like, I don't know. Every year I think is going to look different, as my point. I'm just figure it out as I go. And thank God for the people around me, especially my husband, who, like I said, holds it down and I can trust and kind of let go, do my thing, and we'll figure it out along the way.
Do you ever look back at those times too as like this badge of honor in a way, even though like how exhausting it was, but you look back at yourself and you're like, because that's how we hear it, that's how I hear it. And then even in our own lives, like, places where I had to pump or, airports or things like that, I'm just like, I did that. Like, do you feel that way? Or you were like, you know what? I at one time I'm fine.
Yeah, so the other part in this is I only have one, and and like we could get deep on like what I want, like if I wanted more and all that, like, but it doesn't matter. This is our lives and this is what we have. But I can't imagine having multiple, because like I just mentioned, the trips and all that, the way this is all working for me is because I have one. And she's kind of an accessory right now, right? She's just like, she can sleep in our hotel bed and she can like come along on the train or the plane or whatever. But like, can you imagine, like, y'all know, I mean, the multiple thing would be a whole different situation. So I like that it works. And then maybe that's just the world telling us like, this is what you can handle. So, like enjoy it and take it all in. It's all going to go really fast because I'm only going to get to do it all once. But yeah, the badge of honor thing, I mean, yeah, at times, I mean, the whole, like, the first year, like, how did any of us do that? What did we just go through? How did we pull that off? I think, especially with the year that it was too, we didn't have to travel in her first year. Like, so it was post COVID. So that first year back, they didn't let broadcasters travel with the team yet. And like, as devastating as that was to people who have done this their whole lives, and like you think about the play-by-play guys who feel like they can't do their jobs unless they're on the road. I mean, there was definitely there was just some turmoil and angst behind all that when the decision was made. But for me, I'm back here like, oh, thank God, as I have like my pumping machine attached to me, and like it's just like, thank God, we're gonna do this from the studio this year again. Like, the timing was all actually kind of nice for that, because I don't know. I mean, I would have had to figure it out. It's why I stopped pumping, was because I was like, once baseball season started, like I wasn't gonna. You can't leave in the third inning and then come back. I mean, I guess you really could, but it's just like, it's a different gig. It's a different kind of job. This is live TV. You can't press pause. Like, things happening and your responsibilities are for that time, and that's the way it goes.
As you kind of evolve in your career and add things like play-by-play, I mentioned that you did, which is so awesome. I love that.
Hard.
I'm a huge proponent of more women calling play-by-play and not just
Let's go.
limited to the traditional sideline reporter role, which you do so well. But how exciting was that for you to take on that challenge, and also, know that your daughter is watching you and normalizing hearing women calling male sports?
So what happened, the quick backstory is that going back to the COVID year in spring training, I was morning sickness out the what, and my bosses were like, we'd love to have you call maybe some spring training games, maybe a few innings here, like do you and you switch around, we do something fun, but like we'd love to just like get you in the chair. And so I spent that off season going into the 2020 baseball season, going to U of H and practicing, like watching they were doing like intra squad games, and I was like in my head, and I would try to, like, how would I keep my score if I was calling the game? It's a whole different view from, like, where I watch the game. And so I'm not trained, obviously, to be play-by-play. I was a local sports reporter, got in the live TV business, and have been reporting ever since. But I mean, I've, like, jumped in the chair to fill in for, Jeff Blum, our analyst, I think had to be out for a series on the road. I jumped in the chair. So I've been up there, but play-by-play is a different animal. I have the utmost respect for the people who have done it. And Bill Brown is a guy who called Astros games for 30 years, who was play by play when I entered the scene, and couldn't have been more wonderful to me. And he's a reason why I was able to, like, catapult here in Houston and be successful, because he set me up for success. And he was so good at it. And he was like, the king, the Milo Hamiltons. Like, we've got some dudes here in Houston that have been incredible play by play. So in my head, these are the people that do it, right? So it's hard to even imagine yourself sitting in the chair. But I thought spring training's a great opportunity. Let's do it, whatever. Morning sickness, whatever. I was supposed to call games, like, I think it was like March 16th and March 17th. Well, March 13th, I think, was the day that it shut down. March 11th was like the crazy day where all the things were happening. I remember, like, hour by hour, you could break down all the stuff, all the games that were canceled or whatever. And then spring training, it was over. So it took a couple years to get this going again, but the conversation came back up, like, would you want to just do it a game? We were like, they even came to me, my bosses were like, we even thought of these particular dates, we'll see how you do, if you want to do it again. Like, they were just so supportive and open to it. And it's been a conversation, but it wasn't like I was knocking the door down, like, let me do this, I want to do this, because it's not like it was my dream. But sure, if you like, I would love to do it. I think this would be fun. And then the game actually ended up being great. The Astros scored double digits. Alex Bregman hit 2 home runs that day. I mean, they just, like, the Astros just laid it out for me. Like, you were gonna have a night, and I did have a night. And the thing is, like, how do you follow that up, right? Like, like, where do we go from there? And I got another opportunity later in the season. Like, it worked out where Todd just needed a day, and that's kind of where we are now, right? Like, I'm not the backup. We actually have a really great backup, but it is like, hey, if something, we need you, like, just be ready. It is so hard, Jamie. It is so hard. And I didn't think that I was, like, ever really good at it. I am good at knowing, like, my Astros, and I knew that team, and I know the game, and I can set up somebody to talk, like, my analyst, and I can do all that. And so we make it work, but on a daily basis, that is the craziest, hardest job. And, like, there's so much research involved, obviously, but it's like the cadence and the rhythm and the feel, and, like, you are so talented. Like, it's just, I can't say that enough, of the people that sit there and do that, and call a game and be so graceful about it, and the things that are going on in your ear. I mean, I've had people talking in my ear for 20 years, but, like, never like that, right? Like, that, never having a producer like that often, and here's this sponsor, and here's that, and here, look this way, and all right, camera here. Like, I mean, it was just wild. And I have even more respect than I did before. I just didn't want to mess it up that night. And I felt like I didn't. And I'm glad that we, like, did it and moved on. Like, so if I do it again, it's not a big deal, right? Like, I'm glad we got to that point too. In case there is, like, a random Tuesday where, like, in June, where Julia's up there, like, it's just, all right, this is what's happening. Like, that's what we want, right?
Seems like the buildup is more dramatic than it actually ended up being, right? Because clearly you crushed it, but it was just anticipation and knowing that you have to know all these extra things that are weighing on your mind when you just go in and do it, and that's it, right?
Exactly. Oh my God. Like, the stress I had about, like, all right, who's your athletic trainer? Like, who's your, like, who again? Who was the first base umpire? And, like, who was it? Like, it's stuff like that you just don't have to do, but you do have to know every single little thing in case, right? It's a lot of, like, just in case. Oh,
why do the worst case scenarios come in our head? Like, instead of, like, the best case scenarios? Like, seriously, like, why is that what we're preparing for? But I think that's what makes us good at what we do, is just being prepared for the athletic trainer to come out if something really bad were to go down. That's how we know.
I'm going to know his name and how to pronounce it. Watch out.
What does that say to you, Julia, about the landscape, right? In how things have changed? I think we're all around the same age, and we started first steps in the business around the same time. So how have you seen things change, progress, or maybe not, since you've been doing this?
It's a great question. Yeah, I'm old now, right? So a lot's happened. Because I used to get this question, 5 years into the business, and it's like, little things had happened, obviously, or, like, someone had taken on a huge role that was a female, that was a big deal. But now that it's been I've spent some time. I've seen some things. There's been a lot of change, and the television industry has changed. It's like night and day since when we were trying to get into it. The whole sports broadcasting world. Don't even get me started on the RSN world. It's so different than when I was 20, 21 years old dreaming of doing this, and how do I do it, and who do I talk to, and who do I watch? So thinking back to when I was in college and wanted to do this, I was doing a sports television internship at the local CBS affiliate in Austin. And I was at UT during the heyday, the glory days. So I was on the sidelines. I was like living the sports world with the university, and I had college game day in Austin every weekend because they were ranked 1 or ranked 2. And I was getting I don't know, it's the exposure. I was seeing it. I was, and then I would tune in when I would go home because I was all into it. It was Pam Oliver was it for me. She was it. I was watching the Cowboys growing up, and through my college era, she was the female for me. And I don't know, they were just well into their careers, and they were women, and I'm 20. So you don't see yourself as them because I'm not even close to them. I felt how do I even get to that point? What are the steps? There's got to be 15 steps in between, right? For me to get from here to Pam Oliver. And so, people said, you got to go the local sports route. And I did that. And then honestly, the roles going back, I think the women in different roles, not just television, but just in jobs in sports, that's changed. Marketing's a bunch of women. The people in game day entertainment now for the Astros, it's a bunch of women down there. I mean, it's crazy. We're literally everywhere when that wasn't so much the case. I was the only female on the flight when I first started with the Astros, and that was weird. So there's I don't know, no one thinks twice anymore.
Yeah, it's true. I've noticed it. I work with the Golden Knights now, and there are women at all levels. I mean, C-suites to me too. There's a lot of us, and it's really beautiful that it's just normalized that you can be a woman and not be asked, do you actually like hockey, or are you trying to get in with the players? Those are the questions that were so commonplace 15 years ago when I was first really starting. And it makes me so angry because I remember feeling the same way where you're how do I build a relationship with these players where they'll trust me, they'll do interviews with me, I'll get good stuff from them while keeping that professional integrity and not having anyone confused about lines that may or may not be crossed, and also not have the perception that lines might be crossed, because perception is reality, and there's so much of that. And
that's
so
the hard part.
To have that weight all the time that you carried around while you're also just trying to do your job, that is something that just makes me so angry for us women that have had to deal with that. And hopefully we've come a little farther as a society and as professionals in all areas that's no longer really the perception or the case. But anyway,
people don't have to worry about what they wore like we did at all. Right. And I can tell that by watching, you can watch on TV and you're like, you thought you're wearing that on TV, and that's just the way it is now. And that's me being old, right? You're just how did you walk out of the door thinking that was okay? But it not only was okay, it's okay with everyone at your network, and it's okay with everyone at home. And so I'm just behind on that. But from a different generation, half of my stress was what I'm wearing, how long is the skirt, is this wide enough, because if it's not, then it's considered a spaghetti string. It's stuff that we spent so much time and energy stressed out over this is too low, wait, nope, all day, every day. I was so stressed about that. And they don't, and that's, there's some good to that, right? There's some good that they don't have to
there's a balance. It's fine.
So much, there's a balance, but still, I think that alone, how far things have come on just we're women, we dress like this, we have figures, sorry, I don't know what to tell you. This is what we're going to do. Because back then it was if you had cleavage, you better hide it. If you had sexy legs, you better hide them. It wasn't. Now there's more accentuating than not, but again, there's a good balance. But yeah, that was a lot of
Julia,
stress. It's a lot of it.
I can't even tell you how many pantsuits I had from the Limited. I kept them in
New York
business.
and Company. I was New York and Company.
That's so funny.
You wear the shirt, blazer shirt.
Yes, amazing. I want to get back to kind of mom stuff too, and I'm sure you do what you do because you love it and it fills your cup. But do you feel like since becoming a mom, you've almost felt an even greater responsibility to kind of continue being this strong woman in sports as an example for your daughter and her friends?
Yes, yes. I mean, early on too, when I had just become a mom, like a lot of emotions, and it might have been a lot of hormones too, but that's okay. It was just a lot of like, these are my feels now, and like, what is she thinking, and what is she picking up, and so I, now it's kind of like I've done it long enough, and she knows that I'm on TV. Like it's kind of just like what we do. It's our lives, but no, I mean, it is. I think it's important. Before that, I thought it was important just for the little girls who were coming up to me at the baseball games and saying like, I love watching you on TV. And I'm like, you're a little girl. Like, this is crazy. Like, you're a little girl and you like baseball and you're watching me on TV. Like, that's nuts. And I will get people now that I've done this, just finished up my 13th season. So I get the I grew up watching you quote a lot. And that hurt, the first few times. Like,
Wow.
ooh. But I mean, they did, right? Like, and if you think about 10 years ago, if they jumped on when the Astros started to get good, they might have been in middle school and they might have been 10 and now they're in college and they're studying broadcast journalism, or maybe they want to go in sports. And so I'm getting a lot of that now. So I felt a lot of that before I had Valerie, and just like that little girl was me, right? Like what would I have taken from me, and what would I have learned? How would have I or would have been inspired by this? I talked about exposure earlier. That was key for me. Like, and so it's key for, I think, all the younger generation, like what you're capable of doing when you can see it, like it's over, right? Like, let's go. I can do this. But yeah, for sure. When Valerie came along, and this poor girl's like learning how to keep score, and she's telling me, "Mommy, it's tied 2-2." It just warms my heart. And she is putting together that like sporting events are fun. This is all just a fun experience, and it should be. But it is crazy that it's also mommy's work. And so like there's a little bit of that she's gonna have to figure out. Like, you can't just come on the field at any point, baby. I love you, and that you can run the bases, but like you can't just come down to the field and see me. And little spoiled child she is now. I've ruined that part for her. But yeah, it's important. It's important to work. I think I've always wanted to work. I still want to work. I think stay-at-home moms are a super woman of their own brand and kind. I've got good girlfriends who were working like dogs, had babies, and then were like, nope, this is it. And they're really freaking good at that. And they tell me about their day and I tell them about mine. And I'm just like, I don't know how you do it. Like, my job's crazy and my life's crazy, but like, oh, that's hard. It's to stay in that and raise kids and keep the house and like make all the things. Yeah, like I thrive on the adult conversations, and I thrive on what's next, and kind of like I like to be busy and have my hands into something, which is why I have all these other things that I'm doing now too. But hopefully she picks up on some of that too, and some of the good in that, because it can get stressful and it gets hard and sometimes I'm gone, but I'm hoping that a lot of the good sticks with her.
Sounds that way to me. I mean, I would love that if I was growing up. Oh my gosh. Before we segue into our fun segment of the week, I think you'll appreciate this, Julia and Jamie as well, because I did every now and then I sit in as a features reporter, and I got to interview JJ Watt, and
love.
So excited. Had a shirt that really, when I put it on, it's not a cleavy shirt. It's just not. But somehow, of course, because I was pregnant at the time, I sit, and when I look at the camera, when I get home, I see what it looks like. And I'm like, you can see like this much of the line of my boobs, like you can see that much. So I was so crazy that someone was going to just comment about it or make it a big deal or say, you can't do this anymore because of the way you dress. I had my editor go into After Effects in his editing system and like blur out my boob line.
Wow.
And he was like,
you're of our generation.
What am I doing again?
Thank you.
He was like, well, what am I doing? There's nothing wrong with this. I'm like, yes, there is. So
we were wired that way. But our parents were wearing pantyhose. So like, of course, like they wore pantyhose. They didn't show their bare legs at work. It's like that. We're not that far removed from that. So like I wore pantyhose to a job I had at the state capitol in Austin. Like we were still doing that in 2000 and 2000. So we're not that far removed from like that
not
world.
Cool. And like you said, you're seeing some of these outfits that you're like, well, you went with that. Okay.
Right.
So I just think back to my poor editor and him being like, I don't understand why. Just do it.
Hey, real quick, I want to make sure we get a quick shout out to Julia for making amazing apparel that
Great
is
segue.
appropriate
Oh, yes.
in all settings. Baseball, y'all, for anyone
Covers the
listening,
cleave.
you can't see. Yes. No cleavage. There might be some you've got some really cute tanks I've seen as well. So really quick, before we kind of wrap up and go to our fun segment, Julia, how did you decide that you wanted to start a clothing line?
I mean, so baseball, y'all, is something I would say a lot. And, you know, you sports lovers will understand that there's just some things that are inexplicable in the game or in all sports, right? But like baseball, there's just certain things where you're like, that's freaking baseball. And I would just say baseball, y'all. I'm obviously a Texan. I say y'all every other word anyway, but I put it together and I would tweet it a lot back when I was tweeting a lot. And so I was like, I'm going to make a shirt. I'm just going to make one shirt and it's going to be fun. And I'll put it on my website and I'll just like try to sell the shirt. So this all happened the summer of 2022. When I was talking about like the hardest year of my life, I decided to start this, but I wanted it to be small. I wanted it t-shirts, hoodies, like literally like hopefully my mom buys one. And that was what I was hoping out of the whole thing. Just fun. And this also comes from like the influencer world because people would send me baseball shirts and they'd be like, wear this, wear this. I'm like, I should just be wearing my own baseball shirts, right? When I do all this stuff and maybe like making $5 here or there. The Astros, I finally launched it. I wanted to launch it All-Star break. It's hard to start a business, another podcast. But I got it off the ground, debuted it, like made it live, just regular t-shirts the day the Astros won the division in 2022. So September. It was like that morning, it was like, I have a shirt. And then they won the division. And then they took off on this crazy playoff run and won the World Series. So like we were obviously like people are watching. I'm a big part of this. And people were buying shirts like crazy because I had them in orange and navy. So that's how it all started. I had a Champs Y'all sweatshirt that went kind of crazy. And then it just got me going, right? It's like, what next? What can I do? So I have all sports now. The point was for something that you could wear to like your kids' little league games. And you could also wear to, you know, like the major league game that night. Kids change teams constantly. It's a lot of like neutral colors that you can wear and like keep wearing instead of having to like keep up with your kid changing teams, all of that. That's how it all started. But yeah, it's grown and it's been a lot of fun and I don't sleep much, but it's great. I actually do. I do enjoy it though. Yes.
That is so awesome. I just have so much respect for all that you do. And like you said, I'm sure there's no real off season anymore because now you have the baseball y'all line and football y'all and all the other things that are taking off. In addition to the book I mentioned in the beginning, Her Day at the Park. So for anyone listening, it's a really precious book from what I've seen, little snippets that you've posted about, you know, having a little girl go to the baseball park and having a great time. So hopefully everyone listening can go check that out.
I already shared mine. I think that cleave is it keeps me for this week. So it's called our Mom-Barrassing Moment of the week.
Everyone got a kick out of. I hurt myself this year. I had a on the job injury. So at the Brewers ballpark, I like Sophia and I are great. She's the sideline reporter for the Brewers. We're like great friends and we were hanging out. We had all these plans to like go out for drinks after games or whatever. So the first day we're there, you have to get on this little ladder to climb down into the camera well. And I just step on my left foot and my calf feels like I've been shot and stabbed. Like I have a calf strain. And it's so I'm like, oh my God. Like, so what, you know, like I felt like my whole body turned around. I'm in pain, like real pain. I just sit down immediately and I'm so scared to try to walk the whole game. 3 hours later, I'm like, all right, my team won. I got to get up the ladder and go back out. This is like the real test. Like, what have I done to myself? So I like limp my way out on the dragging my foot. It hurt.
Heels?
Like I've never been really injured, but I just stepped wrong and I just turned 40. So I think it all came together as like, hey, welcome to your 40s. So I do an interview. And then I have to like keep going to the clubhouse and I'm like trying so hard not to because the guys are just going to absolutely crush me. Right. And they did. But like Sophia's like, we can't go out like this. Like, you can't go anywhere. I have to like get carted off basically to get to the bus. But the next day I have to interview Pena. He had a great game, Jeremy Pena. So I'm interviewing him and word had gotten around that I actually like seeked help from the trainer because I was just like, what do I do? This is the beginning of a long road trip. Like, what do I do? How do I survive? Like, I can't get in a boot. Like, I'm not going to wear a walking boot. Can you imagine walking into the clubhouse with a walking boot? These are professional athletes. And so I'm interviewing him, you know, I'm scooting around. And at the end of the interview, we have an off day the next day. And he's like, yeah, everyone's going to rest up. He's like, but you need to rest up because I heard about your calf injury. Like, what are we doing? And he's like making fun of me on the interview. And this interview just went viral because everyone's like, he just crushed their sideline reporter. I'm like, yep, that is my life. Literally, that's my life, though, like getting crushed on the daily by guys who used to be my age, and now they're like, I know, and now they're like so much younger. So it, you know, it's fun.
When did that happen? But first of all, I know that ladder, and that ladder is bane of my existence. I hate that ladder. Why did you climb in and out of a dugout? Do you know how awful that is? That is clearly designed by a man who wears like sneakers and jeans every day to the ballpark, not like full professional broadcast attire. Anyway. Yeah, everyone's young now and we're old and that I don't know when that happened, but it did. And here we are. But you know what? That just means we're thriving. And I think that's something to be proud of, that we are able to do this job well into our later years where, again, like women, I feel like had a shelf life, right? For a long time. That's, I think, where the biggest change has been in the industry, going back to what we were talking about, is that now it's not like, oh, like there's that younger, hotter thing coming up. Like your time is limited. Like, no, now it's like people, I don't say prefer older.
They value.
But it's like they prefer experienced women who know how to do their job on TV better. And so it's not something where we have to feel like, oh, we only got 2 more years. Clock is ticking. Like we've made a career and we're planning on staying in said career for as long as we can. It'll be great.
Hear that, everyone?
Yeah. Also, facials and laser treatments. Like, don't. You gotta tell the whole truth.
Don't knock it. Well, we're so thankful that you took some time for us here in the midst of all your stuff going on. It's been such a treat hearing your story and learning more about you. So thank you. And
thank you, guys.
We hope to catch up with you down the road.
Thank you so much for listening, babes. You can keep track of us on Instagram at Babes in Sports Podcast. And don't miss next week where we'll have ESPN Monday Night Countdown features reporter Michelle Beisner-Buck stop by. See you soon.